My friends, you have seen this incident based on sworn testimony. Can you prove that it didn't happen?
Fancy bugs! Lick my plate!
Show me 10 minutes where it's like a Steven Soderbergh Ocean's 11 movie. It's all slick and funny and stuff, then just the most horrific shit imaginable happens.
Because that's what the fucking movie's about, you asshole.
This fucking guy.
The Tree of Life is freaking awesome.
I'm sure you think it is.
Faded to black.
Oh, you are fucking this up.
Neon slime.
Gangsta movie douchebag, well, forget about it, forget about
Man, Cinematique, where I like, I like the sets and I like all that stuff.
What did you say?
Cinematique? I don't know.
Jared Leto, man.
You're the worst, dude. If you ever listen to this, Jared Leto, you are the fucking worst. I'd rather watch that dude, the English dude, who looks like he's not done yet. This movie is the opposite of getting lucky.
Thank you to all our listeners who have been listening to us for over a year now. Subscribe to us on Apple iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and any other platform that has podcasts. Visit our Patreon page, become a Patreon, get more additional content. Again, we appreciate you listening. Keep watching those movies. Now, on with the show.
Our entire aim is for the development of our planet.
This week, it's Peter Jackson's Bad Taste. This episode is sponsored by Golden Ticket Cinemas, home of $5 Tuesdays. GTcinemas.com. Is that my spinning steel, shithead? G'day, mate, and welcome to Tales from the Video Store. 107, and man, I'll tell you what, that's about the extent of the movie we're doing this week. It's just, all it is sound effects and special effects. Peter Jackson's Bad Taste. But first, how we doing? How we doing, boys?
Doing good.
Great. I hear we have some news. I'll start with a little bit of news. Bill Cosby is a free man. He roofied 29 women, and he is a free man. Britney Spears was just denied from a judge from her dad being her conservator.
Yeah.
So
That's right. That means you can work hard all your life, generate millions upon. She has to have generated hundreds of millions of dollars.
Hundreds of millions.
And if you have hey, listen, everybody has freakouts. We've all had them. Most of them, there just weren't 1,000 photographers when we had them.
Right.
You know, and that was what 2007, and now she, I say she's probably worth 200 million. It's probably more than that, but it doesn't matter. She still can't have control over her life, and she's almost as old as I am.
Yeah, and she's like matured, and her kids are raised, and
right.
Oh, anyway, I'm sorry.
If you create Fat Albert and roofie almost half over 25 women, but a lawyer says he won't prosecute you, you get out. It's I love that the lawyer who said he wouldn't prosecute him. It wasn't even written down. It was just that he said it to him.
Right. Well, and I don't want to get political here, but this doesn't look good this is fucking men again, like, just giving the shit, like, why wouldn't Britney's dad just go, you know what, here, take your fucking money? You know what I mean?
He gets access to all that money.
What's that?
I said he has access to all that money.
I know.
You know, his ass hasn't worked in 30 fucking years.
Oh, I know he hasn't.
Yeah.
But
He
I
hasn't
just,
worked
I,
since he was on
I,
the Disney Channel.
I don't understand the justice system whatsoever. Like how that could be happening in the same day. You've got some judge, and the problem apparently they said, look, this isn't about the judge. They just don't have enough like examples or enough documents on this kind of conservatory thing. I don't even know what that is. But
Right.
and that's the reason they denied. Whereas I guess they have plenty on people like Bill Cosby who roofie and rape women,
Yeah.
and he gets
Well,
out.
it's just the lawyer, the former, I guess, Pennsylvania district attorney said he would not prosecute him, and then a different lawyer prosecuted him, and apparently that's, despite the fact that everybody knows he did it.
It's kind of like OJ. We know you killed those two people, but guess what? You're off.
No, but he was found not guilty. At least, in the trial they found him not guilty. Well, like I said, we all know he did that, but Cosby was found guilty.
Yeah.
He'll get his comeuppance.
Oh, he will.
Karma's a motherfucker.
He won't. He's already talking about going back out. He's probably got enough following that believes that he never did that.
Dude, when they posted that on Facebook yesterday, the amount of pro Cosby women I saw commenting was astounding. Granted, they were all older women, probably from their late 40s to early 60s, but they were just like, he didn't do that. I just know he didn't. Like,
he did the Cosby Show. He never did any of that.
That's clear.
These women have this psychic ability to know he's not a rapist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. We live in a fucking weird world, dude.
Oh, we definitely do.
Roffiyo Cosby is free at last.
Yeah.
And Britney Spears is, because she freaked out because she married some freaking piece of shit. Where's that guy now?
He's probably living off the fat of the land because she probably has to send him an alimony check every month.
Golly,
cut by her
why
dad.
couldn't I be that freaking backup dancer that just so happened to cross Britney Spears' eyes that day and go, hey, baby, have a couple of babies with her and be just set for life, man? What the fuck?
Yeah. I don't know. You should have had more rhythm, Garrick.
I needed more rhythm, that's for sure. Yep, that is for sure. Because this 16-hour work day that I got going on ain't got no rhythm. None. All right, well, another thing I saw on a better note and not non-political, there was a picture of Michael Keaton in the Batman attire for the movie Flash, and he looked just like the Batman. He's got gray hair, silver hair. It's gonna be great, right?
Yeah, I'm just happy to see him back here. Like, I guess DC was like, wait a minute, what do people like? They like that. Bring it back.
Yeah.
They've spent, 10 years making movies that people just, well, that was okay. But now they're just like,
After the Zack Snyder thing, it's do whatever people want.
Exactly.
Do it now. No arguments.
Yeah, exactly. When was the last time we didn't fuck it up? 1989. Bring it back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, correct.
But yeah, hey, even if the movie's just okay, it'll be cool to see him as Batman again.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's ultimately. I'm not a big Flash fan. I don't.
Unless they just bring him back to fucking kill him.
Yeah.
Maybe they did learn something from Marvel. I guess we'll find out.
There you go. From what I understand, he's going to be basically like, not unlike the Nick Fury type role, where he's basically giving orders.
He's commissioner.
Yes. Yeah. And then, who knows? We'll see when the movie comes out. Who knows?
Okay.
But yeah.
Does
What
anybody
did you
know?
guys think of the Many Saints of Newark trailer?
Oh, man, it looks fantastic. James Gandolfini's son sounds just like him, and kind of looks like him.
There's a shot in there where he's talking, where his face almost like morphs into his dad's face.
Yeah.
Like you see him there for a second.
It's in the
He's like, "What did you say?" or something. Yeah. I think it's gonna be really cool.
Sure, it's The Sopranos. Of course it is.
Yeah.
Right. It's gonna be good, and it's the writer. I just lost
David
his name.
Chase.
Thank you, David Chase.
That'll be fun.
I mean, and it's just a movie. It's not. They're not going to drag it out into 7 series. You know.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I think it'll be. I think it'll be good. I think I'm going to have to go back and watch all The Sopranos.
I've thought about doing that in the last couple of years, and I've staved off from doing it, but it's been in my mind.
I've done the Game of Thrones 3 times already, and I've only done Sopranos once.
There's some shaky shit, man. Like, middle towards the end, it's like, man, I've got to watch his wife fuck this priest one more time. Like, get back to the fucking story. They really kind of went off the rails a little bit there for my taste. But
to me, it's all pretty much perfect until he goes into coma. I think next to last season.
Yeah.
That whole coma arc where he's a different guy in his mind is just, after that it just kind of sours. But those first 4 seasons,
really good.
They're pretty much perfect.
Hey, so real fast, speaking of Batman, I hate to go back to Batman, but
Oh, that's fine.
Has anybody seen any information on when that Robert Pattinson Batman's going to come out now that we're past the
I think it's next year.
pandemic, so they're still going to stretch it out to next year?
I think so.
I heard that they were doing some reshoots,
Oh no, reshoots are never good.
really recently. And I also read about a falling out between Pattinson and the director, so who even fucking knows? Yeah. I'm afraid they're going to make something that's going to be perfect, and that'll be all we ever get, is what I'm afraid is going to happen.
Or it's going to be terrible, and we're never going to go see another Batman again.
That could happen.
Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight is the cleanest cut line of cocaine you'll ever get, and you'll always be looking for that.
Well, I mean,
next
that
time.
third act's a little sketchy, but that's
You're fucking crazy. That fucking you're fucking crazy. That fucking movie is a masterpiece. It's damn near flawless.
No, dude. That last 20 minutes with Two-Face is fucking. When the Joker gets captured, the movie's over. The whole Two-Face arc, that could have been saved for the third movie.
Agree. Okay, sure, agreed. But it's still flawless and it's still good.
Oh, it's a fantastic movie. I'm not saying that. I'm just, when the monster's dead, the movie's over.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. But there was 2 monsters. Two-Face was a monster.
Well, that's true, but okay, never mind. We're not talking about.
You're not gonna argue with me at all.
I'm not gonna argue with you because then we're gonna get into the third movie, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, fine. Moving on then. You got some other news, or is that it?
I do. Tarantino has released Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as a novel, and he convinced the book publisher to skip the hardback and go straight to the paperback.
Nice.
He said he wanted this basically just, a lot of people when a book comes out, they're not going to pay $30 for a hardback. They just wait for the paperback. And he's like, why don't we just skip all that, even though the money in books is definitely in the hardback. But he was like, I understand that, but at the same time, I want a lot of people to read this book. And from what I've read, it goes into a lot of stuff. It gives you, a lot of stuff that's left hanging in the movie he fills in.
Yeah, I read one thing I wish I hadn't.
Right, it's probably the same thing I read.
Yeah, I was like, see, about my main man Cliff, but it's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
But, if I see it for sale, and it's, I'll probably check it out.
Yeah, agreed. I'd like to give it a read one time.
Wait, but who wrote it? Did he write it?
Yeah.
He wrote it.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. Oh, wow. Okay. Motherfucker needs to be writing his next movie. What's he doing writing a daggone novel over a movie we already watched? He needs to get to work.
Hey, listen, that's just, that's what he's going to do.
It's going to be a minute before his last one comes out.
Oh, yeah.
Did you hear it? Did you see that article where he was talking about wanting to he's like, hypothetical, wanting to redo First Blood with Adam Driver?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, how awesome. I'd watch it. First Blood, Adam Driver, forget it. That would be great. Do you think after his ninth movie, do you think he'll semi-retire, but he'll probably come out to do like a redo here or there, won't he? You think, or he?
I would think he'll probably produce a lot of stuff, like
and maybe write.
Yeah, write stuff, yeah, and maybe do like some. Maybe he said like a HBO miniseries is definitely something that he could see himself doing. Where he can just hit the time. He doesn't have to worry about it being 2.5 hours. It can be 10 hours.
And that would certainly please him, I'm sure.
Yeah, it would please me too.
Yeah,
it'd please me.
I don't think he's going to retire. He's just going to retire from movie directing. I still think he'll be doing stuff. He'll probably write books on film and books on genres and subgenres he's into.
He's doing he's getting ready to do a podcast with the guy that he wrote True Remnants with, I believe, when they were working at the video store.
Oh yeah, Robert.
They're going to talk about movies from the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Okay, very cool.
Okay.
Very cool. Yeah.
They're going to eat into our audience.
Those bastards. Petition! Hashtag No Tarantino Podcast.
Yeah, second
right.
QT.
No QT Podcast. Hashtag No QT Podcast.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, we're going to lose that one.
Yeah. Hey. Bill Cosby is free. Britney Spears can't spend her money. Anything can happen.
That's true.
That's true. That's very true.
O.J. Simpson is on Twitter talking about how his neck hurts. Anything is fucking possible.
Yep.
Motherfucker. All right, what else you got?
Well, let's end the news on a positive note. A few days ago, probably about 4 or 5 days ago, Robert, let me see, the producer of the Evil Dead movies, Robert Taper, he announced that a woman who's worked with him and Sam Raimi for a very long time, Diana Grant, she's a stunt woman. She was doing a stunt on the Lord of the Rings TV show, which is shooting in New Zealand. And when they gave her an MRI after she had an accident, they discovered she had an unburst aneurysm in her head. But she did not. I mean, the surgery for that is extremely costly, and she just didn't have the money. So Robert Taper and his wife Lucy Lawless, who was Warrior Princess, which Robert Taper and Sam Raimi produced, basically put out a tweet that said whatever people donated to her medical fund, they would match. And within like 48 hours, they had the money for the surgery.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
And I got to be honest with you, aneurysms, just the thought of them, they scare the shit out of me. Just because you could be standing there one day and your fucking brain explodes and you just drop dead right to, it could happen right now.
Yeah, but you wouldn't feel a thing. You wouldn't even know it's happening.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't feel a thing. You'd just be dead.
Well, but
that, her finding out, it's almost like, and she has to wait like 2 months for the surgery. I'd be like,
oh, yeah.
You can't do this tomorrow?
Yeah, I would rather die and not know than to sit around like a ticking time bomb. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. But anyway, go back to the point. It's, the fans of movies and everything, they came through on this point, and she, like I said, within 48 hours, she had the money for the surgery.
The power of celebrity.
Exactly.
Lucy Lawless can tweet and get a whole bunch of money for a stranger, and Britney Spears can't touch hers.
Well.
What the fuck is wrong with this fucking place?
But that's all the news I have.
Maybe some aliens need to come down and use our brains for fast food. Kind of like the movie we're talking about this week.
Exactly.
Bad Taste, Peter Jackson's first film. Now, let's just, I'm getting scouted over here. I am going to start. You want to introduce the movie first?
Absolutely. It's from 1988. It's Peter Jackson's Bad Taste. It was a movie he made over about 3 years with some work friends of his. They went every weekend and filmed this movie, but Garrick said it's about a alien fast food chain that has come to Earth to basically, they're turning humans into their next, like their next cheeseburger. Whatever their food they serve, they're going to make it out of human meat. And the government finds out about this, the New Zealand government. They send this group of, I guess you'd say, commandos to stop them. And it's just a ridiculous movie. It's, basically, Peter Jackson, he was the actor. He was the cinematographer, the special effects artist, stuntman. There's a scene where he fights himself and both wins and loses. He plays two different scenes in a fight, both people in the fight scene. He edited it and produced it. And, this month we've talked about movies, filmmakers who make their first movie. We talked about, Paul Thomas Anderson last week and the Coen Brothers the first week. They made that movie by going out and getting funding to make a movie. Peter Jackson made this movie with his bare hands. He made the equipment for the cameras. He made his own Steadicam, his own dolly track. He baked the special effects appliances in his mother's oven. And he was, I think, 27 when he made this movie. And, when I was 27, I was making stupid short films with my friends. I definitely wasn't making a feature film that was going to sell at the Cannes Film Festival and then go on to direct the Lord of the Rings movies.
I was making documentaries with Doug drinking alcohol in that house on the 127 at 27.
Yeah, and like I said, is it a great movie? As far as the movie goes, it's very amateurish, but at the same time, it's his first movie, and he was with the exception of his friends probably helping him carry the equipment, he was the entire crew.
Right, which is
And
where
also he plays two parts in the movie.
Oh, okay. The movie is the movie. It is Peter Jackson, and it is what it is. So the movie, listen, I love the concept, and to be quite honest, it would be cool. Peter Jackson could make any movie he wants. It would be cool to go back and even just do a short, like a Francis Ford Coppola going back and recutting Godfather, him doing Bad Taste with the new money, because I like the concept. But the movie's not all that good. But being a filmmaker, I appreciate every bit of it. I appreciate every aspect of it. What he did and how he did it. It's superb guerrilla filmmaking, and it's a great concept. And I think that he executed it the best way he could execute it with what he had. And I mean, even if I wasn't a big fan of the movie and it was kind of, it was kind of loud and just not my cup of tea, it did get him dead. It did get him dead alive.
Exactly.
And I guess.
And the sheep joke is always funny. The sheep exploding makes me laugh every time.
Yeah.
Where he cuts the shape of himself out the door like he's Wile E. Coyote.
Oh yes, yes.
He comes to the door like he's going to be the man, and the rocket goes through the door and blows up that random sheep.
Well, and the most impressive part of this process is like, I guess maybe I noticed this because now I'm working in TV and I'm working on shows that require an amazing amount of sound effects to push the story, because you really, I'm working on crime shows, so we're using old Polaroids and recreations and slow-mo, and you just don't have much to do. So we have these like huge like sound effects beds that kind of push the story. And as I was watching this movie, since I've been working on this for like the last 4 months, since I've been working on this job, my keen eyes are really noticing stuff. And where his shots were not so good, his sound effects were fantastic, and they would take up. It's like he knew what. I guess that's what I'm trying to say is he knew what he was doing, or even if he was duct taping this together, if he cut a scene and was like, oh shit, this freaking effect isn't as good. It doesn't look as good on camera as it's supposed to. Here, give me more.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's the thing about sound. People will sit through a movie in a movie theater that is blurry. They will sit there and they'll complain about it, but they won't get up. But if they can't hear a movie, they will get up and complain.
Yeah, speak it like the Army of the Dead.
Exactly. Because I watched that at the Shelby movie theater, or AMC. I've gotten up and complained 20 times. Because it's a terrible movie theater. once the music started playing through the movie. You know, the pre-music?
Yeah.
They're just like, enjoy the smooth sounds of blah, blah. That started playing over the movie. That's how terribly that theater's run. And once I was watching, I can't remember what movie it was, but the projector forgot to put, you know, when they project commercials, they're in basically TV format. But there's a widescreen lens they're supposed to put over the projector for the movie. I once sat and watched a movie in full frame at the theater because I just didn't want to get up and complain, and nobody else did either. But if the sound was out, 20 people would get up and complain. That's the weird thing about movies.
Well, and, you know, what's unfortunate is Bad Taste doesn't have surround sound. I mean, that's a mag tape sound, and a lot of those sounds are all over the place. And it's just funny. I would like to see him do Bad Taste with, you know, stop motion. And the technology and the money he has now, I wonder how much it would change. But he relied a lot on, you know, drips and goo and things like that to push through these scenes that were very jarring and very amateur.
He talked about making another splatter movie. He mentions it every couple of years. Like he's made a suggestion about these zombie Nazis that go back in time to stop the birth of Christ. Like he has these ideas, but these giant commitments just get in the way of them.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and he makes giant commitments like, you know, The Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit. This is 10 years of production on these trilogies.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know, Doug, well, do you have anything to say? You have anything to add to, you know, Bad Taste? I think we're both on the same page about how, you know, when it came out, how brilliant it was, or how brilliant Peter Jackson was as a filmmaker, even if the movie was kind of amateurish. It felt like a above grade trauma movie. Lee, are you there?
I'm there.
It felt like it was a upgraded trauma movie.
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely a homemade movie, but I mean it's a, you know, like I said, if you gave us a camcorder now, that's all we have is camcorders and stuff we have around the house. We couldn't make a better movie because we don't have the ingenuity. Like we would have to go hire effects people and hire this, that, and the other.
You're right. The kid, you know,
it's not necessarily the movie, it's the ingenuity behind the movie is what I like.
Yeah, I mean, Peter Jackson walked into Mom's kitchen sink and said, I could use that. Whereas I would be like, fuck this, I'm going on the internet and buying it. Here, where's my credit card?
Exactly.
What, Doug, what'd you think of it?
Pass.
What do you mean, pass?
I'm good.
You're just not going to speak about it?
I don't really have anything to say about it.
Really? Nothing.
It is a film for filmmakers and film students. It's not a film a movie for film lovers like me. Like I. That's it.
That's it.
I got nothing. It's not that I don't like. It's not necessarily a knock against Peter Jackson. It's just, you know, like you introduced it. You said it's just special effects and
goo
and goo
and drips.
It's bullshit.
Oh, why you say something?
I just say it's fun. It's just not, you know.
Okay.
I would have liked to have maybe done something different.
Oh, like what?
Well, I'm pretty sure that we were supposed to be doing Wes Anderson, and somehow fucking Lee snuck in Peter fucking Jackson in on us, and nobody said a goddamn word, and I let it slide, and I fucking paid for it.
I was gonna say,
and it's fine.
What are these notes? There's nothing on them.
That's my notes. That's my
He's
Peter
got
Jackson.
a notepad. It says Bad Taste at the top, Peter Jackson, 87, and the rest of the page is blank. All right, so let's do it. Wes Anderson, Bottle Rocket. We've all seen it.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
Okay.
All right. Wes Anderson. I'm not a big fan of I'm getting to be more of a fan of Wes Anderson.
Right.
Like somebody else I'm going to talk about, I like his design. I like his look, his style.
Yeah, it can get a little bit much, though.
Yeah.
You know, his first movie, Bottle Rocket, came out in 96. And I'm pretty sure it was the first time I had seen, or really anybody had seen any of the Wilson boys, Luke and Owen, and actually their older brother is in the movie too, as Future Man, who's just like an asshole older brother, you know. And it's just, Lee's, I can see Lee being like, it's too fucking cute. But I just think it's so fucking uniquely done. It's such a fucking cool story about a guy that thinks that crime is like this cool thing that he just can't get enough of. But he's a shit criminal, and he doesn't have a bad bone in his body. They're just, it's like pretend, you know. It's like when you play cops and robbers when you're a little kid, but they're in their fucking mid-20s. I just dig it, man. James Caan's in it. He's fucking awesome,
But the style, and it's so great though. I'll say this, Bottle Rocket, and I watched it this morning.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, after I got, after you basically were like, dude, that you can see with Wes Anderson movies, every one of them, Wes Anderson did them. Even this one, this was his first one.
You can tell by the music.
Whereas P.T. Anderson kind of changed and matured, but Wes Anderson stays the same. And he uses the same guys, kind of like P.T. Anderson, Coen Brothers. I mean, it's all. The Grand Budapest Hotel is my favorite Wes Anderson movie. It's fantastic. This movie is great. I hate Luke Wilson and I hate Owen Wilson because Luke Wilson's always the same guy. But I think that in this kind of movie, I can put up with him.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
What is your favorite Wes? What do you say? Weigh in here, Lee, about this.
Lee hates
this.
I
find it weird that Doug said he wanted to do something different, whereas the first two movies were independent crime movies, and he wanted to do a third independent crime movie. So what he really meant was he wanted to do something the fucking same. How is what movie we reviewed not different than the other two movies? Anyway, despite the fact that Doug's an idiot. I mean, Wes Anderson, I don't know. I don't know. Fucking, it's
too fucking cute, Lee. I know. I've heard you say it before.
It's too fucking cute, and it just seems like a bit of a cunt. And I don't know. Listen, Wes Anderson is like Van Halen. I like Van Halen, but if I had to be in a room with David Lee Roth, I'd fucking kill myself. And Wes Anderson it's just so fucking precious and cutesy, and I love the Royal Tenenbaums. I love a few of his movies, but at the same time, it's just fucking sad white people with folk music behind it. I don't give a fuck. It's just like, does this character in this movie have a problem with his dad? You mean like every character in a Wes Anderson movie? Just, fuck off. Just more indie, yeah.
I love that.
Okay,
I mean, you're talking about something different. He's made the same movie 5 times. Oh, fuck.
Did I say something different? I don't know.
You're right. He really has. He has made the same movie 5 times in a different location.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, yes, and Garrick, you're right. The set, it looks amazing. It looks amazing, and
his shot choice is great. Everything's kind of flat.
It is great.
Feels like Woody Allen.
Right, and the use of zooms, I just love it. But at the same time, it's just some of it's like, it's just fucking. Maybe I just hate cuteness. I don't know.
I think you're a cuteness hater.
I
have a very low threshold
for cuteness.
Yeah. So, okay, so you are the biggest hater of Wes Anderson, and you're the biggest hater of the fucking Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. So,
listen, this is your fault, Garrett, because you created a podcast where 70% of the time we're talking about movies I like.
Great. All right.
In reality, I hate most movies. Most movies are fucking unbearable. And just if we were talking about more mainstream movies, I'd be the Doug of the podcast. I'd be like, ugh, this shit.
Okay. So it's fair to say you're a fan of Peter Jackson before The Lord of the Rings.
Absolutely. And it just they don't. I mean, and I'll give him credit. Like he changes. Like, even his fourth movie, Heavenly Bodies, which is probably his best movie as a director, which is about a New Zealand true crime, a murder in New Zealand in the 50s.
Yeah, I remember that movie. It's good.
It's very good. It's so different than his previous, the splatter movies he made before, and so different than the epics he would make later. He's, like, that's the thing that's frustrating about it. He's so fucking, it's like we've talked about James Cameron. He's so fucking talented.
But he just gets wrapped up in shit.
He just gets wrapped up in this bullshit that I just fucking hate.
Yeah.
And you're just like, just do something. I don't know.
Go back to New Zealand. Go back and live in your mama's house for 6 months, man, and get back to your roots and figure out what you need to be doing.
Think about it like this. He hasn't done his own thing. He has... Like
but who wouldn't want to do the fucking Lord of the Rings
straight
trilogy?
material that he has worked with for the last almost 25 years, none of it is his own.
Nope. Yeah, the Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Remake. The Lovely Bones is based on a book.
It's like.
Yeah.
That's weird to me that somewhere in there he didn't like.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing with. It's the same thing with Tim Burton. Look at Tim Burton after. Ed Wood. It's all remakes. Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
It's all remakes or it's based on something else. It's like you just, and also I'm sure that's very comfortable, and also you get paid an obscene amount of money.
And I think
listen, do you know how much easier it would be to shoot? Do you know how much easier it would be for me to shoot Cutter for you than for me to write my own horror movie?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. There's not as much pressure. There's not as much passion in it. There's not as much anything. So
it's a job.
Yeah, you're right. It's like, yes. Yeah, you're right. It's like, and it's kind of where I am now with my job. It's, it's a job. It's crime shows. I don't even watch them. And it's every month I do a new one. And sometimes it's unbearable, especially at the end when I'm down to the last and I'm like, oh my gosh, if I have to see this woman's interview again. But it's a job and it pays. And if I stopped doing that job and started rewriting the nurse script or whatever we were doing, it turns, not that it doesn't give you money. It's not going to give you money. That's nothing to do with it. But it's 3 times the amount of work.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's all yours, and it's your passion
it's time
project.
that's spent not making money.
Yeah, you're right. And it's a whole different thing. Of course, I don't know. Peter Jackson could probably walk into New Line or MGM or Bezos' office and go, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to remake Bad Taste, but I'm going to do it with today's technology.
He doesn't have to remake it. He could just do part 2.
Yeah, right. I'm going to do Bad Taste Part 2. I need $10 million. What do you say? Anybody's going to cut that check.
Yeah.
Anybody's going to cut that check. So
that's what I don't really care if he goes back to splatter. I just want him to do his own thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Next. I don't really give a fuck if it's great or not. I just, after such a period of time, man, I can't imagine being as creative-minded as he seems to be and not having that outlet to me is fucking weird. Like, I'm surprised he hasn't had, like, a fucking meltdown.
Well, he did lose a whole bunch of weight. Remember
especially just over all this goddamn Hobbit shit, dude. I mean, I'm talking fucking 25 years of it, man.
Yeah.
How the fuck he got conned into making the Hobbit movies after Lord of the Rings, I'll never fucking understand.
They probably doubled his paycheck.
Because Guillermo del Toro quit.
Man.
Yeah.
I guess he kind of felt like he had to, but
right.
Man, I would have really preferred if he'd have just been like, screw you guys, I'm going home. I'm writing something over here. I've got another project. And hopefully, like you say, Lee, I hope he comes up with something cool sooner than later.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yep, and he doesn't have any
He's got nothing in the pipeline.
Yep, he's got nothing in the pipeline, man. Very, very crazy. I haven't seen his name in the news. Maybe he's just taking a break. Maybe he'll come back and...
I hope so.
I mean, Francis Ford Coppola, after The Godfather 3 was done. I think he was done. He only directed, what, maybe 5 movies? 6 movies?
After that?
Yeah.
Well, he did what? He did...
In Dracula?
He did the Rainmaker.
Yeah, that was his last one.
Was it?
Rainmaker, Dracula, Apocalypse Now, the 3 Godfather movies, and then Tucker. And that was really it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't do much.
Tucker's the only movie my dad ever rented.
Huh, wow. Of all the movies you rent.
Well, my dad is obsessed with cars, so he thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Great. All right, well, first time filmmakers, Wes Anderson's left out and Doug's vagina's heard about it. I'm getting ready to drop a bombshell. Speaking of first films, directors. Last week sometime, I was kind of web surfing, I was trying to look for a new look for my website. And I stumbled across robzombie.com. And his website has everything you need for it. Like, it's got everything that I like. And I started scrolling through it, and I was like, started looking into reading his posts and looking at all his stuff. And I'm like, you know, he really does make everything look pretty good. I may not completely like his writing and his music is...
Are you fucking walking back your fucking hatred of Rob Zombie right fucking now?
Oh, just let me finish, at least let me finish my story. Jesus. So this kind of spawned me into going, man, love or hate him, he's got a following. He's kind of like Wes Anderson. He's got a following, and he does stuff that he wants his fans to do. And so I started watching his movies. I'm not a big fan of any of them. However, they do have a certain look. Even Lords of Salem didn't look bad. Yeah, sure, okay. But he did say something. In an interview, he said, "Look, the movie, Ed Wood. Ed Wood, Plan 9 from Outer Space is better than some of these $200 million movies, not because of technical stuff, but because of the passion that was put into the project." And he's right about that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
He's right about that. So I am, yes, publicly walking back. I won't say I'm a fan, but I appreciate that he's able to do it, and it looks the way it looks. It's pretty cool. That Halloween, I'm just going to say that the Halloween remake is a piece of shit. But
I will agree with him that if I had just if you walked into my house with 2 DVDs, Garrick, you said we have Plan 9 and Fast and the Furious 9, I would be watching Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Exactly. And I respect him for that. And so I watched every one of his movies this week, and with a different eye, and I, love him or hate him, he's got it's a certain look, and it's a certain way he does it, and people love it. And, he should stay away from Halloween, but and maybe this is all this spawned from the news that he's going to remake The Munsters. I'm interested. Yeah. I am interested to see if he can take that level, if he can go to the PG. You know what I mean? If he can make that jump out of these ultra violent movies with the scripts that are just laced with profanity and terrible stuff. And see, I'll tell you what, I'll have a newfound respect, even more respect for him if he can make a kid or halfway kid movie with the monsters and make it look good.
Right, and I would be more impressed if it wasn't PG-13, if it was PG.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If he could make a PG movie, I would be very impressed.
Absolutely. So there you go. I'm walking back my pure hatred. I'm trying to turn over a new leaf. Yeah, listen, House of 1,000 Corpses is pretty good. We enjoyed it. Yeah. I love the looks. Captain Spaulding may be one of the coolest fucking
characters ever.
Ever.
He's great.
Ever.
Yeah.
Dr. Satan, just the coolest fucking name. I mean, there's a lot to like about what he does, and
yeah,
you know, but then again, like you say, it kind of gets to a point where it's like, oh goddamn, such a fucking wife again. You know, just the same shit.
The same shit.
The same camera work.
The clowns, the killer clowns, killer clowns.
I get it. You like clowns, motherfucker.
And you like masks. Everybody puts masks on.
Right. But like you say, it's his own thing.
But it's all over his. You know, it's in his music too. Like I was listening to his music, and I'm like, oh, this is his movies. This is just him.
Right.
He's this guy.
He wears his inspirations on his sleeve. You can't fault him for being a fan.
Yeah.
Right. It's like he's a horror movie fan, and he has made a living being that brand.
Yeah.
And I've been an asshole. I'm sorry, Rob Zombie. I appreciate your work, man. There you go. Wow.
Very good.
This
some kind of fucking podcast we got going on this one.
This may actually end up being the craziest podcast we've ever done. What'd you watch this week?
I watched a couple of things.
Oh, yeah?
It's funny you mentioned the old DC movies. Because I went back, before 89, I went back to the 70s. And I found Superman 1 and 2 by Richard Donner. And watched them back to back as if they were one movie. And I spent like 4.5 hours doing that. Because this was my shit when I was a little kid. And I wanted to see, you know, how it looked, how it made me feel. And it made me feel fucking amazing. They both look amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Edward Scissorhands does for me.
You know,
it gives me that feeling every time I watch it.
Ned Beatty just died a couple of weeks ago. He was fucking fantastic as Otis. Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor's, kind of stooge. Christopher Reeves was fucking awesome. And I got the same fucking anxiety when Lois is in the fucking car and then he does the magical time travel shit. I got that same like, the dirt's coming in on her, man. I remember as a kid, I was like, oh my God, this is the fucking scariest shit. It was scarier than any horror movie I'd ever seen at that point. And then when Rocky, the fucking truck driver asshole, beats the fuck out of Superman at the diner. Oh my God, man. I cried. I was like, fuck this. But then he comes back. And, this movie has all those fucking feels, man, for those old-timey movies. Yeah. Old school movies that I hadn't sat down and watched in a really long time, and I had no idea how I was going to feel watching, if I was going to be bored 15 minutes into it. I was never bored. It did not seem like 4.5 hours. It seemed like it could have gone on. That's how much I enjoyed the look. Like, just everything about those movies I love so fucking much. I'm so glad I went back and watched them. Other thing I watched was on your recommendation, the Mayor of Easttown that's on HBO Max. Or is it HBO?
Was that right?
It's pretty fucking good, man.
Yeah,
it's really, really good. Winslow's fucking great. Everybody in it's really good, but
she'll win the Emmy.
The last 2 episodes, man, it's too much, dude. It's a little too much.
Maybe.
Craig Zobel?
Yeah.
That road.
It's all over the place.
It's like, hey, whoa, calm down. Like, you had a good flow going. Everything's working.
Pull the rug and then pull the rug again. Pull the rug again.
Well, I don't need 6 fucking
rug pulls.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. You just kind of outwitted yourself at the end of it.
Right.
And I hope that they don't bring it back. As much as I loved all the characters, and I think it's a one-time thing, and it should go
I think
away.
it is. I think it's Ashley Adams did that one, The Sharp Objects. Yeah. I think it's just a miniseries.
And that's fine.
I think it's just
I still would recommend it to anybody, that likes similar things to me. It's really good. Really
it's a great character study. Everybody in it.
Yeah, it's just, at the end, it's like, God damn, man, really? And then I tried to find a first-time director that was kind of not somebody that was on our radar, so to speak. And I found 2001's Frailty, which was Bill Paxton's first director.
It's not a one-time... He was a fucking actor. That's not a first-time director.
Sure it is.
Oh,
it's the first time he directed a movie.
Oh, come on.
It's definitely not... Is it the same thing?
I don't know.
You should fucking know.
I mean...
He only made 2 movies. This one and one other one.
That one's good.
And Frailty was a movie that I didn't know anything about the first time I watched it back in the early 2000s, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I've seen it around a couple times, but I hadn't watched it again. And basically, it's about these two sons and a father that believe that, well, the father believes that God has come down and told him that he is his form of vengeance on earth, and he's going to give them these weapons, and he's going to tell them the names of these people, and they're to go and get these people and dispatch them, you know, kill the demons. And one of the sons is like, this is fucking crazy. And Matthew McConaughey is the adult version of one of these sons who is telling this story to Powers Booth, who's an FBI agent. He's fucking awesome, dude. Goddamn. Yeah. Just seeing Powers, I was like, fuck, I miss that guy, man. He's so fucking powerful. Just his face, man.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, Doug.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it in a very long time. Does the twist at the end still hold up?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like, oh my God, but it's like, yeah. It's like,
yeah.
And I loved fucking Bill Paxton, man. He's one of my favorites of all time. I fucking just love the guy. Just something about him, you know. You just see him and you're like, I bet that guy's cool. I've always felt that way about Bill Paxton.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I'm a big I like McConaughey and love Powers Booth, and everybody in that gives a fucking kick-ass performance. And you know, like I say, it's his directorial debut. Say of that what you will, because he was an actor for 25 years prior to that. But who, you know, a lot of these guys. Would you say the same thing about Clint Eastwood? Like,
well, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's one thing for a writer, a guy that's not an actor. Bill Paxton had been on sets and been with directors and been in that business for 20 years, and then decided to direct. Like, that's not like you and I going out. It's not like Lee and I getting together and deciding how to raise money and make death amphetamine. You know what I mean?
Right. I see your point.
Bill Paxton, he could have walked right in there, and you know what I mean, because he had so much experience on set and with actors that he didn't really have to do shit. That's not a first-time director.
it is a first-time director.
Christ. All right, fine. The movie's good, though.
It's a very good movie. If you've never seen it or heard of it,
okay, I'm not here to debate you.
Go fuck yourself. Frailty from 2001, very good. Highly recommend. That's what I watched.
You're out of your element.
Shut up. Let me say one thing.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie. You're out of your element.
How is it in Superman 2, the fight between Superman and the Phantom Zone trio is still the best superhero fight 40 years later?
It's the shit, dude.
And now you watch fights between movies where characters are supposed to have superpowers, and it looks fucking terrible.
Yeah.
But Richard Donner did it, in 1980, and it looked fucking amazing.
That's what was the most impressive about it. Is I did not really know what to expect. I think it was on HBO Max. I think they had all four of the early Superman movies, and I can't, like the one with Richard Pryor. I remember it, but I kind of remember a little bit about it, and I remember the fourth one. I like the nuclear guy. I remember it was fucking terrible.
Oh, yeah.
But the first two done by Donnerman, and I just was more pleased with the way it looked, man. It looked fucking so good, dude. If you're a big fan of those movies, and it's been a long time since I've seen them, man, I highly recommend going back and giving them a day in court, man, because it was, for somebody like me who grew up in that time, man, it brought me all the way back, man, and made me remember why Superman was my fucking, favorite superhero until, I guess, Michael Keaton's Batman. And then it changed, and I was like, oh, wait, Batman. I like this guy. But, anyway.
What'd you watch, Lee?
I just watched a couple things. I watched the new release, Nobody, with Bob Odenkirk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, highly enjoyed it. It's not as John Wicky as you think it's going to be. It's more, not necessarily comedic, but the world is less super serious, Like there's enough, and I appreciate in the movie that it doesn't try to build this whole world in the movie. Like in the movie, like his dad is Christopher Lloyd. You meet Christopher Lloyd early in the movie, and then at the end of the movie, you realize that the RZA is Bob Odenkirk's brother, because you see a picture of Christopher Lloyd when he walks into his house, and there's it's like from the 70s, you know, and there's a little white kid and a little black kid in the picture, and at the end, the RZA shows up, and he's Bob Odenkirk's brother, and they never address it. There's no backstory. There's no explanation.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and so many movies now, like you get like, it's just, there's so much exposition that, you know, sometimes you could just people will figure it out, you know. I'm a
massive, huge Bob Odenkirk guy from the way back. Mr. Show with Bob and David.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
One of the best sketch comedies of all time.
And like I said, it's not as John Wick-like as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
It's more the tone. I mean, it's a very violent action movie, but the tone's not as serious as John Wick.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it.
Nice.
And the second movie I watched was another new release called Paper Tigers, an independent film, sort of a love letter to '80s sort of American martial arts movies, like, you know, movies like No Retreat, No Surrender, things like that. These guys in the late '80s, early '90s, they were just the shit in Seattle. You know, as far as martial arts goes, they would go into other dojos and like throw down challenges and just kick everybody's ass. Well, cut to 2021, they're all middle-aged, and, you know, 2 out of the 3 have not been practicing martial arts for 30 years. And then their teacher dies, their sensei gets murdered, and they have to figure out what's going on. And also they have to sort of get back into the world of fighting, even though they're all like dads now. You know, and it's a very sweet movie. And for, like, I believe it was also a first-time director. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but I read it on Redbox, and I highly enjoyed it.
Fucking sweet. Did you just use the word sweet? You tell Wes Anderson he's too cute, and you just used the word...
Cute and sweet aren't the same word.
Are they not the same?
No, not the same word. Now, when you see the movie, there's just like, the relationship between the 3 guys, it's very, like, you know, you can see them actually being friends. You know?
Lee is, would you categorize Ghoulies 2 as cute or sweet?
I'll definitely say it's sweet.
So Luke Wilson and Owen Wilson in Bottle Rocket, they don't seem like brothers, even though they're brothers.
They are.
I mean, I'm not saying they don't seem like brothers. I just, you know.
We're just giving you a hard time.
I just, you know. They just don't seem like guys I want to watch in a movie.
Gotcha.
Even though the Bottle Rocket's okay. It's okay. You know. It's, you know. It's probably the least cute of all his movies, now that I think about it.
Yeah, probably.
It's not as cute as that bullshit about the summer camp.
He got
Moonrise Kingdom.
He got more money to...
Yeah.
Some of them are even as a fan of his as I am, you know, I love, like, Zizou's my fucking jam, and I'll always fucking appreciate that movie. But, like, Moonrise Kingdom, Darjeeling, you know, they're not all winners.
I rewatched, I got about halfway through Darjeeling Limited a couple months ago, and I just bailed.
I will say this, though, his animated stuff, Fantastic Mr. Fox and the Isle of Dogs is both of those are fucking awesome, dude. Yeah. I really, really like both of those a lot.
Because in his anime stuff, unlike his live action stuff, there's sort of kind of like what I enjoy about Grand Budapest Hotel. There's like a meanness to it.
Yeah.
Like in his anime stuff, like they're more serious than his dramas. You know, like they're like people. You know, like just what I like about Grand Budapest. Like when Ray Fiennes swears in Grand Budapest when he says just some of the stuff he says is just so fucking funny and mean.
Yeah,
it's great.
Like when they knock Willem Dafoe off the mountain, he's like, "You got that fucker." Like it's just, you know, Like there's a mean-spirited to us that I can actually enjoy.
Yes.
And I find that in his animated movies as well.
Yeah.
That's all you watched?
Yes, I only watched those 2 things, yeah.
All right, so I watched Steven Kostanski's Psycho Gorman. I'd been waiting a while to see it. I'd heard nothing but good things about it, and it delivered 100%. It's basically a ode to 80s movies. Evil monster summons to Earth. He's going to destroy the universe, but the rock that controls his whole presence is now controlled by an 8-year-old girl. And the movie has really bad effects, or really 80s. Everything's 80s. Everything's tongue-in-cheek. It knows what it's, it's making fun of itself, and it's perfect. And I suggest it to anybody and everybody that grew up in the 80s.
I've been putting it off, but I have to watch it.
It is exactly what you think it is, and
right.
And they know it. You know what I mean?
A lot of times those sort of fake or pre-made exploitation movies just sort of rub me the wrong way.
This one is
like where we talked about Turbo Kid. I thought Turbo Kid was going to be like that, but I ended up really enjoying it.
Right.
I hope it's more like Turbo Kid than I.
It is. That was actually that's actually the example I was going to tell you. That's exactly what it feels like.
Yeah.
And it's great, and it's cute and sweet, but it's a good cute and sweet. It's an 80s. Okay. It's an 80s cute sweet. It's a Goonies cute.
Yeah.
So, and then the other bullshit I watched was it's funny. My son, man, he always wants to watch scary movies. He doesn't want to watch any good movies. He wants to watch scary movies. So,
but also he's that age.
I know, but there is no scary movies. There aren't scary movies. The scary movies are like Sinister and all that stuff, and they suck.
Oh, you mean modern?
Yeah. But he doesn't want to watch the old stuff.
Okay.
He doesn't, you know what I mean? He's not scared by Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
They're desensitized. They've seen real life people die on TikTok. Well, I found one. I found one that I hadn't seen, and I was like, well, if I'm going to sit through a piece of shit modern day horror movie, this one I'd like to see. And it was the Evil Dead remake by Fede Alvarez.
From 2012?
From 2013. It's a remake of Sam Raimi's Evil Dead. All I have to say is, why?
Yeah.
It's like, why? Okay, it is super gory, and I will be honest, there were a couple times where I'm like, oh, God. But that's the only reason they made the movie. The Evil Dead was campy horror. Why? That'd be like turning the fucking Phantom Thread into an action film. Why would you fucking do that?
Well,
I don't know. I only watched it once when it came out, and I remember thinking it was okay.
I really don't remember anything about it.
Yeah.
It's very serious. It's like the very serious version of it.
Too serious.
But the only cool thing is they use the chainsaw. They use the voices, and they use the main guy character looks like Ash. He's got the bright blue shirt on. You know what I mean? So
I remember the girl gets possessed, and then she ends up being the hero.
Yes, which was the fucking coup de grace of me going, this is the biggest piece of shit ever. I mean, this chick gets fucked by a thorn bush. She cuts her tongue in half. She gets shot, kicked, punched, possessed, buried alive, shocked, brought back, and seconds later, she's fighting the big dead eye like fucking nothing happened.
Right.
I mean, dude, I had COVID. I was down for 6 fucking months. This bitch was like possessed by Satan himself, and that bitch is up fighting. Cuts her arm off. Her arm gets stuck under the Jeep. She pulls it off, so she's armless. She's got a chainsaw in the other hand, and I'm like, this is the stupidest fucking shit I've ever seen in my life. Fucking, I can't even believe Sam Raimi had to have been in that freaking meeting going, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And then the production company kind of put a check in his composition book and said, well, how about this? And they looked at it, and it was like $1 million. And he's like, okay, make whatever movie you want. Kind of like John Carpenter, make whatever movie you want.
Question. Has River ever seen Drag Me to Hell? Because that's an actual Sam Raimi movie that is a lot more like a Sam Raimi movie.
Oh, it's great.
Than a remake.
Yeah.
So if he hasn't seen that, it's pretty modern.
Yeah.
He might actually dig that. That's something that's kind of might be up his alley.
Yeah, and that's great, but that's Sam Raimi. I just don't. This one's just a why. It's not a, whatever, man. Good for this Fede Alvarez, how he could pitch that to Sam Raimi or to whoever and get it made. It's great. I just don't understand why. It was real serious. The only good thing about it was very brutal. Like, it was brutally violent.
Yeah.
But it wasn't campy brutally violent like the actual Evil Dead was. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
The tone was off.
Yeah, everything was off.
It happens.
And then I watched another forgettable movie from Shudder called Super Deep. It's basically
that Russian movie.
Yeah, The Thing meets Aliens. You've seen it a gazillion times, and skip it. Throw it into the airlock and send that motherfucker to space.
Okay.
What are we doing next week? We're out. We can do first-time directors for a year, probably. I mean, especially for using fucking actors.
What do y'all want to do next week?
God. Everybody's been piling on me this week.
It doesn't matter, man. Whatever. Well, hey, I'll tell you what. We'll decide and we'll surprise everybody.
There you go.
All right.
Well, all right. That's it for this block and this week. We'll talk to you later.
All right.
Enjoy this gore fest at the end via Peter Jackson.